What is up guys, Fer here, and today we're going to be talking about Usopp and a possible upgrade that he could have or obtain in the future to sort of rise up in level and close the gap between him and the monster trio, because at this point in time Usopp is still very unimpressive, even though I feel like he's going to be the fourth strongest Straw Hat end of series. Obviously I'm going to be excluding Jinbei because I don't think Jinbei is going to make it end of series. And when it comes to Usopp, I feel like his feats in the series are usually mixed in with comedy, making it lose its luster. But personally, I feel like he needs not only a better form of observation, but a new weapon or something that would put him to that next level. And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. But before we get into this video, like the video if you're new here, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content. Now, one of the big issues I have with Usopp is that Oda uses him as a character way too often, even though he should be playing a very vital role in the crew, especially during Dressrosa with the whole situation with Sugar, whereas Usopp actually got defeated. Now Tribble also took part in his defeat, but the outcome of that fight was a bit underwhelming. A serious situation with a silly solution. I mean, this was a scheme Doflamingo spent 10 years planning, and all that calculation that went into it was ultimately foiled by Usopp eating a grape, which made Sugar pass out, and that returned all the citizens back to their human form. I mean, while it was a lackluster conclusion, I feel like there was no way Usopp could have defeated both Tribble and Sugar at the same time. Maybe if he had a bit of prep time, but obviously he knew he couldn't do anything and ran away because he was too scared, even though his goal is to become a brave warrior of the sea. And again, I mentioned this before, while Usopp is currently one of the weakest Straw Hats, I think during or at the climax of One Piece, he's going to become the fourth strongest member. And I think this has been set up with him being the fourth Straw Hat to obtain a form of Haki, which was obtained during the time when he stopped Sugar from turning Luffy into a toy. And again, this was from like miles away, which was very impressive. And we know that he utilized the presence subsphere of observation, where he can detect a person's presence, which is very needed for Usopp given the fact that he's the marksman of the Straw Hat Pirates. And we also kind of parallel him to his father, Usopp, whereas Usopp will more than likely surpass his dad in terms of strength. And we know that Usopp is one of the 3 Yonko commanders of the Red Hair Pirates, and is the second strongest one at that, or is the second just under Ben Beckman based on portrayal. And this really shows that there's a lot of potential for people who use guns or any other projectile weapons as their main fighting style. Now, I'm not entirely sure how marksmen fight other than shooting your gun, but obviously there's more to marksmen and how they fight, and this could be something that could be relative to swordsmen in terms of skill and variety. And we're obviously going to see more from Usopp, because I think for the most part we haven't seen the full strength of pretty much every Straw Hats except Luffy. And I think Wano is that time and place to show the full power of everyone, including Usopp. And apart from showing what they have in store, growth is something they will show in this arc, because they're going to overcome these obstacles that are going to get in your way. Initially you're going to have a hard time, but eventually they're going to make it through, and that will come with growth, because Wano is supposed to be an arc where we get an all-out war between the Straw Hat side of things and the Shogun side of things, which includes Kaido and his crew, which we've already encountered in the most recent manga chapter. And so the threat level is the highest it's ever been for the Straw Hats. Obviously Sabaody was pretty bad as well, but in this arc we have the Yonko Kaido, the Calamities, some members of the worst generation, and the forces of Wano. So there's a lot to deal with here. And so this brings me to Usopp's next power up. Now, a main part of his strength lies in his weapon and the gadgets that he has, like the dials he got from Sky Island. In a sense, he's sort of the Batman of the crew, where he depends on weapons and on things he created, and this is due to the fact that he doesn't have the physical prowess that Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji has. In terms of physicality, he's actually one of the lowest within the Straw Hats. Even Chopper would win in that aspect, and so weapons are going to be essential for him to move forward and grow stronger. And so I think Usopp is going to obtain a Devil Fruit ability. Now here's the twist, I don't think he's going to eat the Devil Fruit ability, but he's going to infuse it with his weapon or make his weapon eat it. Now there's been 2 cases where Devil Fruits have been merged with weapons. One of them was the elephant Devil Fruit that was eaten by a sword, which was Funk Free during Enies lobby, and the other one was a dog Zoan that was eaten by a gun, which was Lasso from Alabasta. And this seems to be only possible with Zoan types. Now I guess this is because Zoan's fruits have the essence of a creature that can be personified into a weapon, and this is the very very same reason that smiles are only limited to Zoans, because you can't really recreate abilities like light or ice because these things are intangible, if that makes any sense. But this doesn't necessarily limit Usopp's weapon to only Zoans. I think Usopp's weapon can eat any devil fruit regardless of what class it is, which I will explain later in this video. Now, the whole process of a weapon eating a devil fruit is something I assume that only Vegapunk knows about, and this may require Usopp to actually meet Vegapunk to make his weapon eat a fruit, which goes with a lot of fan theories that believe that the Straw Hats are going to eventually meet up with Vegapunk later on in the story, and this is where we learn about devil fruits, its origins, and things like that. And a lot of people also think that he could be a part of the revolutionaries, which makes that even more plausible. But this doesn't necessarily matter in order for Usopp to make his weapon eat a devil fruit. I don't think Vegapunk is needed for this to happen, and this is because Usopp's weapon is not exactly normal. Now, Usopp's weapon is the Black Kabuto, which is a mixture between his slingshot and a living plant creature, and this plant-like creature can actually take in food. In many cases, Usopp has given it water, and that's why it becomes bigger. And so this brings me to Black Kabuto eating a devil fruit, which isn't only limited to Zoans like Funk Freed or Lasso, but also the Logia and the Paramecic class, because Kabuto is a living creature. And this would definitely make the list of weird things we've seen with devil fruits. We've seen someone taking 2 devil fruit abilities, we've seen an animal eat a devil fruit, which is Chopper's case, and then we have Vegapunk's method of merging devil fruits into weapons. Now, a plant-like creature eating the devil fruit would add into that weird list of things that could be possible with a devil fruit. But the big question here is, what devil fruit would be perfect for Usopp's weapon? Now, it really depends, because there's a lot of fruits that would spice up Usopp's sniping skills, or fruits that would make him more versatile as a fighter. Now, as cool as Parameces and Zoans would be, a Logia would be insane, because this would be a first in the series, whereas we have a living weapon that takes on the traits of a Logia. That would definitely be a first, and I wonder how that's going to work out for Usopp. And when it comes to them finding a devil fruit, we know that devil fruits were extremely rare in the 4 blue seas, and it's still quite rare in the New World. We have yet to see an actual devil fruit that hasn't been eaten, apart from Smiles and Vegapunk's failed creation that Momonosuke ate during Punk Hazard. Now, we know Monet died during Punk Hazard. We know for sure that a devil fruit spawned somewhere on that island or somewhere else in the world. A lot of people theorize that it might respawn in one of the tangerine trees on the Sunny. And now that I think about it, there was also another devil fruit shown to have been reanimated during Punk Hazard, and that was the lizard Zoan Smiley ate. Now, even though devil fruits are extremely rare, I feel like the Straw Hats should have at least found one at this point in the story. But I guess this is reasonable because we have 4 devil fruit users on the crew, so I guess this would suffice. Plus, we actually need people who can swim in case individuals like Luffy and Chopper falls into the sea. But the idea of the Straw Hats finding a devil fruit, I think, is something that should happen, and in that case, this fruit could be given to Usopp, and this would allow him to feed whatever devil fruit he gets to Black Kabuto. But overall, I have high expectations for Usopp in this arc. I think we're going to see a lot more of his abilities, and the fact that he has observation now is definitely going to make him stronger as a fighter. And the end of series, Usopp, I think, goes from weakling trio to monster quartet, making his way into the levels of Sanji and Zoro. He's obviously going to be weaker than them, but they're going to be pretty relative. Definitely going to make his way to become the 4th strongest Straw Hat. I think this ties in well with the Yonko and his 3 commanders. There's Luffy at the top, then there's Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp would be the Straw Hat's main attacking force. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. What do you guys think about Usopp possibly getting the devil fruit that he can use for himself, or a fruit that he can use in conjunction with his weapon? Or do you guys even think that Usopp doesn't need any of this at all to close the gap between him and the monster trio? Comment down below what you guys think. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe for more One Piece content on this channel. It is Pharaoh, guys, and I will see you folks later. Peace.